Okay, in this short video series, we're going to be looking at how to optimize your website for speed. In this first video called Speed Optimization Basics, we're going to be going through the concepts of what website speed optimization is. And then as we progress, we're going to be applying those concepts in actual application. So, the first concept that you need to understand is what is a website and how does it work? Your website lives on a thing called a server that exists somewhere. Now, your users have a computer. Pretty basic stuff, right? You already knew this. Every time a user wants to view your website, the information must travel through what's called the pipe. And that is a T1 DSL satellite cable modem or dial-up connection. Each of these pipelines moves at a different speed. Website speed optimization is figuring out how to get this website out of the server into your user's hands as quickly as possible through this pipe. Pretty basic, right? Okay. The way this works is the server or the user first sends a request. This is called an HTTP query. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This is important to know because all the information that works on the internet is basically converted into text. The address is called a URL. That's a Uniform Resource Locator. Your URL lives on this server, and if it has a URL, Uniform Resource Locator, any computer anywhere can access that by using HTTP. So, your user has the URL, and it sends an HTTP query to the server. What happens next is the first data is transferred back from the server to the user. This is called one full query loop. The data is usually sent in the form of an HTML or an XHTML. HTML is hypertext markup language. XHTML is extended hypertext markup language. This is important. The first data sent from the server to your user is a document called HTML or XHTML. Now, this is kind of basic, and of course it doesn't apply in every situation, but 99% of the time this is how it works. So, that HTML, we're going to call it HTML for short, is going to go from the server to the user. Now, what makes that HTML so special is that it has within it all of the other queries that user needs to make in order to get the web page to display. So again, the server first sends the HTML, and the HTML tells the user what other information they need. The user then sends a number of queries back to the server. Let's look at how these work in a little bit. Let's take one for example. Lots of web pages use images. Lots of images. Every image is a separate HTTP query. So the HTML has an image file here, and it says go get that from the server. The user sends the HTTP query to the server. The server searches for the image, finds it, and then sends it over to the user. This is one full query loop. Does that make sense? I think it does. Okay, one loop goes from the user to the server finds the data and sends it back to the user. This is latency. In addition to the file size, this actual loop process takes time. In most situations, latency is calculated by the amount of time it takes for one query to go full cycle. Normally, it's about 0.2 seconds. So, in order for the user to get this image, there's the size of the file, the speed that the file can go through the pipeline, and the query latency will equal the total transfer time. Remember, we want our web pages fast, so we need the total transfer time to be short. let's look at this from a bigger view. Okay, back and forth the queries go, each one with a 0.2-second latency. That's not even the transfer. That's just what it takes for the time of the query to travel through the pipeline. 0.2 seconds doesn't seem like much, but on this simple web page with 14 queries, we've got 3 seconds of lag just going back and forth through the pipeline. Now, when you think about all the different computers accessing your server at the same time, you begin to see how all those queries start to stack up. So, web page speed optimization is reducing the total file size of the transfer in kilobytes and reducing the total number of HTTP requests, the number of queries. In other words, website speed optimization is to reduce file sizes and reduce the number of files which need to be transferred. Smaller files, less of them. That's the goal in website speed optimization. Again, smaller files, less data transferred, and less files, less total queries. Okay, so basically web speed optimization is really simple. All we're concerned with is reducing the total file size of the transfer, less kilobytes, and reducing the total number of HTTP requests, queries. So, what we're going to use is a tool called Website Optimization Analyzer. It's a simple tool. We're going to look at, here's the website for website optimization. We're going to take a look at a friend of mine's website called Blue Archeologo Book Reviews. It's a great website. Clean lines, clean layout, nice aesthetics. Let's see how it performs in the analyzer. Okay, simple tool to use. Just enter the domain name of the website that you want to review, submit the query. The optimizer is going to take you to a CAPTCHA secure page. So that's pretty straightforward. It's coming. So here's the CAPTCHA page. We're going to enter the CAPTCHA code. And we're going to query the website. Here we go. Here's the speed result. And again, the most important numbers are your total HTTP requests and the total file size. This website, this is the Blue Archeologo website that we looked at, has 83 HTTP requests and a total file size of 500,000 kilobytes, 500,000 bytes. Not terrible. As you go scroll down the results, you're going to see there's a lot of data here that the analyzer is going to give you. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to teach you how to read this data and how to use it to begin doing what? Reducing the total number of HTTP requests and reducing the total file size. For now, I just wanted to get that concept clear to you because every aspect of web speed optimization is going to come down to those two things: less total queries and less total information transferred. And if you do this correctly, the website will not look any different. It will just display much faster. I'll see you tomorrow where we'll begin learning to read this data and making those optimization changes to your website.